Hi, my name is Corie Sheppard, according to David Wears, and I have with me today Chromatics. What's good, brother?
Hi,
Everything is cool?
Yes, man. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure having you here. Pleasure having you here.
Fan of the show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news, David. We have a fan. This is our first. We started one. Everything is started one.
Nah, don't try that.
Our one goal today, though. Because I tell you, I'm underprepared. I feel like as a youth grew up in dancehall and soca and things. So I'm glad to have one of the first people who outside of my comfortable genre of Calypso, although you playing all the games.
Right.
But I do not end up in a wrap up. I say I do a good enough job so I do end up in nobody bad news, right? That's the plan? Everybody on board? You on board?
Nobody will get both probably in the next one because you do a whole wrap up episode and they call me.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
Salute to Franca.
Big up Franca. But you know, you call Franca, you ain't call me.
That run me back in the studio, you know, because after we recorded Franca, of course, we record very, very close to the end of Carnival to cover everything. And then you release the wrap up, which make me run back in studio to talk about the wrap up and the breakdown of it. This year was another special one. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
It's a good place to start, you know. Let me go back to my notes, huh? Because Dread, this year wrap up, right? I hear Yankee Boy Cartel, Trinidad Killer Pronto, Full Blown Marshall, Nicki Minaj, Akim 5.0, Benjai Hoppy Kess, Joshua Grello. That's only one verse.
Yeah.
That's the first verse of the hit. Yeah. How you put it together, boy, when you're dealing with the wrap up? You be taking notes whole Carnival or something because Yankee Boy was forgotten.
Pretty much. I wouldn't say that. That was still a big talking point throughout the thing, but then of course the whole Trinidad Killer thing kind of overshadowed the entire Carnival. You know what I mean? And then Marshall just sort of perpetuated it with the Nicki Minaj thing and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just started taking notes from December.
Serious?
Yeah.
Once the season swinging in.
Yeah, when I realized that, you know, I developed a process for it over the years, and it's just like taking notes. It might be, all right, this instance happened, just writing down the instance, or a line might come to me about that thing. So it's like finding the pieces to the puzzle and then putting it together. And reason why I like to take notes in that order, it makes it work a little easier.
Right.
And then I can also do it in somewhat of a chronological order.
Right.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
And I can't stick to that all the time.
Yeah, this year felt like that. Some of them is feel like if, you know, they jump in. But what's interesting about it, right, is when you talk about Trinidad, people talk about the 2-week wonder thing, where any news story just get dead when the next big story come out. So you have a way of putting it together because, again, podcasting every week, I would typically talk about current affairs. And if a week passed from that Yankee Boy thing, I feel like it dead.
Yeah.
But the way you put it across and the subtle way you put it thing, again, as a man who as an outsider hip hop, when I listen to men doing, for instance, a diss record, like we see last year was one of the biggest years in battle rap, I guess. But when you had to listen to Kendrick to get everything that you say, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that with you. Your wrap up is the same way.
You find so? I don't try to be so dense with it.
You don't find so?
I try not to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, certain things would just lead to that, depending on the topic and how I want to bring it across. You know?
Well, I find when, like, for instance, when you say pronto, you ain't really saying pronto in this year own. You know, you kind of just say you put it out pronto.
Yeah, so it's like a double entendre.
Right.
So it's, you know, he had to put out the song pronto, meaning he had to put out the song right away because he'd now do a remix, but the producer's name was also pronto. So yeah, it's just using those, you know, double entendres, triple entendres sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah.
So when we see Pronto and Trinidad Killer fall out now, you have any intention of like doing an update version? I just want to hear you all the time now.
Nah, like too much work. I gotta pay for that, bro. They pay for it this year, and then shout out to everybody that contributed towards the crowdfunding campaign, and shout out to all the sponsors who came on board.
Yeah, I did see in the end of the video you had all these sponsor shows.
Yeah, we did. It's a business now. The Carnival Rap Up is our business.
Yeah.
It's always been, but I've found the right way, I think, now in the last 2 years of monetizing the product.
Right.
And that was always my struggle, you know, because it's such a, as you're now talking about the 2-week window or whatever, from the time, it's not a song that people might necessarily go back and listen to over and over and over. You watch it once, you watch it twice, you get your laughs, you get your kicks, you like, hey, my things, boy, you're bad, right? And then you're moving on. You know what I mean? So I understand that it doesn't necessarily have that long replay value. So I need to monetize it in the lead up and at the moment. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you see it as like social commentary because Calypso was a space where you used to do that. Although I feel like, there's a name calling thing. I don't know that Calypso was ever so direct.
Nah.
Or brave.
Yeah. They were definitely brave, but yeah, it was never that direct, and that's the hip hop element of it, I guess. You know, but at the end of the day, it is social commentary. Yeah, for sure. The Carnival Rap Up is that, and I mean, I don't know where you want to go with the conversation, but I mean, that is something that I took from Calypso, social commentary, and hip hop, and that is a common thread between the two genres.
Right.
Very much a common thread, as opposed to, I mean, a lot of other music, yes, folk music, whatever, has those, but in such a lyrical art form as Calypso and hip hop, lyrically dense, they do tend to deal with, social topics, and it came out of those kind of struggles, talking about things around them.
Gotcha. So when you first started with your first wrap up, you have that in mind in terms of, okay, this being a social commentary. Because I have this theory that anybody who's at Trini singing Calypso, regardless of genre.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you felt that way going in?
I shout out to Kenny Phillips. Right. I mean, as I say, he basically told me, he said, Matix, you is a Calypsonian disguised as a rapper. Right?
These early days he telling you this?
No, that's actually like when I brought out Outside Man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And well, he had seen me perform a few other places prior to that. You know what I mean? But as I say, the song that really sort of changed my direction was a song called Puppet and a song called Rumors.
People names again.
Yeah. yeah. People names again. But I mean, this is what happened in around me. You know what I mean? And I think maybe because it was so, what's the word I'm looking for? It was not the norm to call people names in songs, that it was so shocking and why it worked. You know what I mean? With Puppet and Rumors. And at the point in time, I had made a decision to really not go down the route of begging traditional media for forward or support. You know what I mean? And I realized that when I wrote these songs, I was writing about the frustration,
right?
That a lot of artists feel in Trinidad and Tobago, especially around that time. The internet was, and social media was now really sort of, YouTube now come out and these kind of things, right? So we didn't have a lot of outlets. And I was using Facebook, the advent of social media at the time, to promote. And I had these songs, I sang them. I always remember the day. We was in the studio, Highway Records in Kirap. We had now come back up from off the streets selling our products, right? And the whole team, one man.
Selling music, right? Your musical products, right? When you say rappers and our products, it might,
Nah, you see the stigma? The stereotyping? We will not have that here today, sir. Right? So yeah, and I remember I'd pull out my rhyme book or something I was working on, and I just started singing it, and everybody just kind of look up like, yo, that real different, boy. You know what I mean? And then me and my manager at the time, shout out to Stuart, fortunately, we said, here we're going on. We're going to hit every and any show that we could get. And this was around the July, August vacation, and we did like 30, 35 shows in 2 months.
This would be like what year?
This is 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't even pour out the song yet. The songs weren't released.
So you just working these songs?
They weren't even recorded.
I see.
I was just working the records live. And through that, we got booked for Heineken, Green Synergy thing, Hennessy, Artistry, whoever, just out there grinding, and people be like, I remember I sing Puppet in Zen.
So Puppet is the first time when you really put everybody name it. But that was for
the most part. I mean, I would have called names before. It's hip hop, bro. That's what we do. You know what I mean? So I've done it before minimally.
Right. Yeah.
But then that, as I say, Puppet was just the first one I was like actually not attacking. I don't want to use that word.
Yeah.
Not attacking, but highlighting the certain people who had a certain power at the point in time. You know what I mean? And certain sway. You dig? And like me and Wendell real good.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
At
I have
the
the
time
utmost
too.
respect for Wendell. Well, yeah. You know what I mean?
Then they're tricky. Like,
Yeah.
that, right?
Nah, dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just not only containing my frustrations, but the frustrations of the entire industry. That's why people relate. And people know the struggles, but nobody want to talk about
Of course.
They rather go behind a man back or shoo in a corner about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Behind closed doors conversation is happening.
I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, you know, these same people, you go be like all giddy in front of the face or whatever, and then, boy, he's him when you go on the side. But, you know what I mean? So it's like, let me talk about the things.
Yeah.
And it was more, the funny thing about it is I was really making fun of myself as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a double entendre in a way because you
Yeah.
calling yourself the puppet.
Yeah.
Puppet dance and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm saying like, you know, they big, I small. And, you know, yeah, so it was, so it had and that's the one. So Rumors was a song similar to that, but which was a little more harsh, right? But when I saw the reaction performing Puppet,
Right.
and people draws dropping,
So people are shocked. At
people
the time.
were
You're talking about
shocked, but
performing it on
also
Zen and thing.
laughing.
Okay, good.
So, and as I say, I'm someone that loves stand-up comedy, and you know I like to laugh. Who don't like to laugh?
Yeah.
You know, really bring joy. And instead of channeling my anger and bitterness, let me use it a different medium of laughter and wit and
Sure.
double entendre in the music, and that's kind of what led to a Carnival Rap Up, if you want to put it like
I understand. But the thing is with puppets, and I don't know how much people would have known at the time, and I kind of know when I hear about Chromatics at the time, two things just come to mind for me. It's the spot rushes and the early rap days and people coming up with it.
Right.
And jugglers.
Right.
So when I hear Shal and Barry immediately, the first two things calling the guys like, what going on?
No, but here's the funny thing, right? Barry, right, from Jugglers, shout out to Barry.
Yeah, Barry Perriman, right? Yeah,
Perriman
the
every
names, so
time.
people know, yeah, of course.
He never do that. He was the one really instrumental in bringing me in to Jugglers for the little brief time that I was there, right? And I never had no falling out or everything with him. I kind of almost calling his name in our big ups kind of way.
Sure,
you know, like,
gotcha. Right.
The Shal situation was a different situation. I would have adjusted before.
Yeah.
I really don't feel the need to bring it back up. We cool.
Sure.
No, you know what I mean?
Yeah, salute to Shal too. Good one.
Yeah. And I mean, we could have conversations till this day. A lot of time, I mean, we were young.
Of course.
We're talking 20 years ago or more. You know what I mean? And, you know, a lot of them time, the egos, whatever. You know, just water under the bridge. But I channel it into music.
Yeah, the Soundman thing was heavy then. And when I say Soundman thing, it was clash. Like we had Hoppy here the other day and talking about that era, and men was trying to outdo one another.
Yeah.
And Jugglers was tricky at the time. You was around it. I was telling you the other day I was Lime by Umble, right around St. James them time, and everybody them days. Well, salute to Truthman would have gone, and Jugglers was yeah. Sorry.
No. It's cool.
Yeah, there was a space. I'm gonna put it like that, right? Because it was Jugglers, Radioactive, Matsy Miller, Cell Construction, Excalibur, Copper Shot, right? And then Audio Menace and Plenty Men came along with that. But the idea of clashing on them kind of thing was the heat.
Yeah, that was the wave of that, or I guess our teenage
sure.
going into early 20s generation. That was the wave. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it was Trotman had passed away about a year, and I came up micing, MCing for Sound Systems previously. So
Before Jugglers?
yeah, so I had started my own. I had get a pair of turntables. I had fallen in love with DJing, and I had like a old turntable from my auntie and a next old table from my uncle.
The matching?
No, match, right? And one, the belt, like it's belt drive, it's not direct drive,
Yeah,
right?
boy.
And the other one here now, like the belt slack, so you can't really mix properly now. So I had to learn on that, and then boom, I ended up getting a proper pair of Technique 1200s.
Right, 12s.
You know what I mean? And then moved into miking because I would be juggling home and thing, and then pick up the mic Trona version and start rapping or chant or whatever. You know what I mean? But anyway, so fast forward to that. I was just in a dance in Anchorage, and my head nice. Shout out to Mary Perry. Perry was like, Chromatics thing, grab your mic now, because he was a little familiar with me. And Charles and Barry were there, and they were like, Chromatics song ain't good, you know. And then they approached me and was like, yo, come on, Mike, good song, you know.
Yeah.
And I was there for a brief period at that time.
Yeah. So even if I could step before that, your entry to music is DJing, and then where'd it start for you with music?
My family's very musically or inclined. My mom was a singer, so a professionally trained opera singer, right? So I remember going in, I don't know if it was Queen's Hall on them days, and seeing her performing with the likes of like Glenda and people, you know what I mean, singing opera. And then my cousins were all musicians, guitar, drums. My brother used to sing in rock bands, ended up moving on to manage rock bands, like Max Bichu, 12, etc., etc. And then my cousin Gerard, shout out to Gerard Rajkumar, he was, I don't know if he's the original, but he was the original drummer for Joint Pop.
Okay.
Right, so and then you're seeing when they pour out after 9:30 and thing, and music video on TV, and you're like, oh yeah, they're causing in the papers. I don't know, but they make it is,
you know, papers are a big thing them time on TV.
Of course, you know what I mean? But just seeing it was encouragement, and then we would always, he's still such a cool test to this day. He would come and we would make tapes. So my other cousin now, who's much similar age to me, he migrated to the States for like 2 years and came back. And it was just like, yo, hip hop is this thing. And around them same time, and we get in the emergence of 98.9 radio.
Of course.
I don't remember that. Right?
Radio.
And then a few years later, 96.1, which is more urban, playing more.
Yeah, you're good friends.
Yeah. Playing more urban music. So, you know, I just got exposed to this genre called hip hop. And I fell in love with it because, you know, it was it was singing about different things. And Calypso at the time was more like, that your parents thing, you know, them just go in the tents.
Of
and
course,
them
it felt old.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it felt old. But yeah, it wasn't ours. It wasn't ours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it felt old.
Yeah, it felt old to me.
Different.
Yeah, I guess maybe because in my upbringing it was really more same musical family, but we used to play old Kaiso house to house. So because I see my grandfather and my father and them doing that as a teenager, you know, you must rebel in a sense at that age. So I really just want to hear dancehall. I just same way you talking about 98.9. I remember like Edison Carr used to give you a one dancehall on a Saturday morning. You remember? He used to get a little one walking machine or something, and that's where you hold on to. But you would have been hearing hip hop on radio and influenced by that. Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, I was a dancehall man too. I any songs and stuff. Eventually, in some, I'm just a music man, bro. Yeah. I just love music. So you could have been opera. You could have lost it to opera.
I don't know about that, right? Because I was, you know, previously, and then so as I say, my cousin was like, you know, hip hop was the thing, and he's like, let me write. He writing. He started a group in school, whatever, and I start writing, whatever. But I was writing. I used to write my little poetry and thing in primary school, whatever, and just open up something in terms of writing. You know what I mean? And that was it. I started like 12 years old and never stopped. You know
as young as that?
Yeah.
So like one of the things I ask people all the time is like soca, especially in that era, felt real jump and wavy. And very, very, very festival focused. Maybe a lot still. Yeah. And I felt like as youths, part of the reason we gravitate towards, let me say reggae, and the conscious movement was around the same time, right? Is because they was talking about different
Everybody
things.
went to the Arasta them time.
That's how it was. Sizzler, Luciano, COTT, all of them.
Sizzler.
Yeah, that was what we was listening to on the blocks. Once they leave home, that was it. But it felt as though I could relate to that music a little more because it was telling more kind of like realistic stories.
The topics.
Yeah.
You could relate to it more, and that's why people still relate. That's why Trinidad is what it is. You know what I mean? And they relate to the subject matter a lot more. Soca has come a long way in terms of that.
Of course, yeah.
And funny enough, is the artists like Abonji, M1, etc., who would be, you know, who talk about different things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you might find their background is similar to what we're describing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't. So that's what I was telling you when we were talking before. It's something I want to salute you for whenever I meet you. I was to tell you that. I watched your interview with KG a few times at this point in time, right? And I respected the fact that you took a minute to tell me, you almost stop him to say, brother, keep doing what you're doing. forget the idea of sponsor. You're right, people go find you and them kind of thing. It's important. I feel like some of us, somehow.
Well, let me stop you now.
Please.
Salute to you. What you
man.
doing?
Here we go.
Because because it's it's serious. Because how long you doing the podcast?
5 years now.
5. I went back and watched all the videos. I scrolled down all the whole YouTube
I thought it was
just
2-3 years. But it's 5 years.
Years.
Tell me it's 5 years.
And your last, to be honest, if you watch the stats, your last few months, let me say the last quarter.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Has snowballed. So it's an example to anybody watching or any creative field doing anything. This shit don't happen overnight. You know what I mean? And building a brand takes time.
Yeah.
And most importantly, consistency. You know what I mean? Not just, for you to learn how to do things better, etc., etc. Right?
Yeah, with you.
Right. Build a team.
Of course.
These sort of things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, salute to you. And then I think that the 2 biggest podcasts in Trinidad right now, you and KG. Yeah, and you're catering to somewhat different demos, which is good.
Yeah, a good bit of overlap because, you're here and you're there, which I appreciate. I'm glad when I see you there because there's and maybe that's why it stood out to me when you said that, because when I started doing the interviews, I find there was a little bit of an undercurrent that says, okay, you doing this and he doing this, and it's like, I don't want that at all. Everybody had to do what they do, and I think you take a moment to tell him now, which is it's important, and I feel like that Trinidad movement, very, very similar to what we were going through in the sound system era, or what we were going through in hip-hop, or earliest days of dancehall.
I would say more similar to like Kiskili Caravan.
Or even that.
I wouldn't say it's similar to the song system thing. It's a little bit more different than that.
You think Kiskili Caravan is rooted the same way growing up?
Not necessarily, but it's similar in terms of the impact that it's having. Right. But I think Trinidad has outlasted, not to say outlasted, because out of Kiskili Caravan came big stars that went on beyond the existence of the Kiskili Caravan, and now we're seeing the same thing. Some might say the Trinidad movement has slowed down, but we have huge mega stars that have come out of this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Thank God for that.
So
you know what I mean. Yeah. Who'd like to see youths get through? It's a strange phenomenon to me.
Right, and that's why it's coast on my generation now, because we don't really support the thing. I was coming here, and my fights and my struggles, and I just wanted to make sure, and I skim through every radio station before I come here. And I ain't really hear
No.
Yeah.
No.
Must be about 1 out of 10. And it's only soca.
And we are a real radio station now compared to then.
So it's like 0.1, then 0.2, then 0.3, then 0.4, then 0.5, then 0.6, and it's all of them is I'm like, who is all these people? And when I'm checking out how to get a radio station now, like, where he has it?
Yeah, when they go put you, they might try to expand the band.
Yeah, but that's what. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I hear for it because even as you bring up radio, right? One of the things, like I hear you say it in interviews before and you talk about it openly in terms of your struggles with radio. One of the things that I hope youths understand who wasn't there, when they hear radio, they think it's 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.3 and 0.4. What they may not understand is that when you talk in radio, then it's about 12, 15 maybe.
Well, in the urban format was 2.
Well, exactly.
And then it expanded to 4, 5, 6,
Yeah, so the idea of needing radio play, like we talk about just feeding your family and trying to get through with music as a youth in Trinidad. And you have 2 radio stations which making maybe collective decisions, my words, they're making choices similar. Let me put it like that. It's a real rough place to be. You're already in a genre that's maybe not accepted as mainstream in Trinidad and Tobago. So while the soca and the Calypso fighting for airplay too because they didn't have it either, it's like where you go fit in at all, you know?
No, well, I mean, my thing is, outside of Carnival is dancehall and hip-hop, all you're playing reggae, 24/7.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. Is like when it's be funny when certain these timings, certain radio men. I remember you talk about hockey. We performing with group Spot Rushaz. We performing in Tobago on Store Bay, mashing up the dance.
Sure.
Take hockey day. Put the square after. He said, "Dan, you're real bad. Why you sing a soca way?"
Oh, you said
yeah.
I like it.
This is like 2002 then, 2003 or something, so, right? 2001, 2002. You know what I mean? But my thing is this. The hypocrisy in it is all you're playing from Ash Wednesday go back to, let me say, January 1st, the next year, till New Year's, right? The next year. All you're playing majority hip-hop dancehall, reggae. But vex when the youths want to sing hip hop, dancehall, reggae. That's all they're hearing.
Of course.
For majority of the year. You know what I mean? That's all they're being influenced by, inspired by.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't, the hypocrisy in it for me is like, yo, come on, man.
Yeah,
You know
it,
what I mean?
it really didn't work. So as you bring up spot rushers, where you going from opera hunting to spot rushers? So what's the gap there missing?
Nah, well, so as I say, I started writing with my cousin. We had a group,
Yeah.
a little group, and that never really did anything. We were just recording in my aunt's house in Maravalde. And so he went back to the States now. So I just kind of did it by myself. And I just kept writing. I never stopped writing. In school and thing, what I used to do is I used to make like mixtapes for men and thing, and then put 2 or 3 of my tracks at the end. So what I used to do is get a turntable and get instrumental records and record at Bar Brethren, who had some equipment on a cassette, and then just rap over it and real shitty mix and thing.
Them is the days.
Right, and then create. I remember I sell a man, I think I must be selling like a Rayquan or something in school now, you know, and he come back. He said, how is you on the end of the tape? I say, yeah.
Oh, you ain't lying with me, no, dude.
Nah. You know what I mean? And then, you know, my partners and my sisters, and then would always push me and whatnot. And then, shout out to Dredrin. You know them, you know the group?
Yeah,
Dredrin?
I remember Dredrin.
Right,
Yeah.
so they used
That's
to throw
really
hip hop parties. Where it would just be hip hop all night, and it was a very niche sort of underground shoo kind of thing. If it was only a hip hop head, you would know about them things, but the vibes was amazing. And I went down to my first one in the tunnel in Chagonas,
Yeah, boy.
and I saw real artists that night, but something about Spot Rushers, that's the first time I saw them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had the little flyer, and I was like, who's these guys? Spot Rushers, Foxhole, Dredrin, TKO, SMG. You know what I mean? And I saw Spot Rushers, and I mean, I know there's a podcast there, but Kwame, Gazi Gates, kick a line that night. He said, I wouldn't buy an album if some pussy came with it. I said, oh, good. Nah. I said, nah. You can bleep it out if you want. But that line hit me in my stomach. I said, wait, sir. And I was just like, their lyrics, the group was just on a whole next level now. You know what I mean? To me. And they were young. They were the young cats at the time. And I just kind of ended up reaching out to them. So then I saw them performing. They opened for Naughty by Nature in a show in Center Excellence. And I just went wrong in the backstage. And I braced one of them, Kel, and I was like, yo, X by Y, boom, 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 thing. And he's like, well, come and check me by Father, yo, Johan, Sita and Cell Construction, because that's where they were recording. You know what I mean? And that was the day. I just fall in with the group because, you know, the lyrics. And I will always say this, and people might disagree. I don't think there were ever 4 or 5 more lyrical people in the same room. Like, if you know the music back in the day, like the stuff that we had that never released.
Oh, I could
amazing.
imagine.
Amazing.
Top plans, anything?
Nah.
That's it? Alright, it was worth a shot. It was worth a shot. But I suppose by the time they see in your rhyme book, then they know you had a thing, because they say you're writing all the time.
I would say, to be honest, I wasn't on the level. But being around them, I sharpened my pen and my sword now, you know what I mean? Just because every time we would link up, them time when we linking up on the weekend, whatever, right? And it's like, where are you there, boy? Where are they? Thing. I just, where are they, boy? All right, boom, boom, and men just started going to it. So it was just the competitive nature within the group itself. And I will always remember this. I learned to count bars from Kwame, from Gazi, because I watched in his rhyme book now. At the end of every line, he would put a slash. So that means it's like it's almost like a measure, and you could really only fit a certain amount of syllables or words or syllables in there. So that is your bar now, right? And that's why that is why you're doing that. And then that's when my flow got even better, and then writing and them thing, So
I'm with you. Yeah, I see any story behind it's all built into a story behind that Carnival Rap Up, it seems like it's so precise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So them days, Spot Rushers, there was a particular, again, the Clash world. It started to get a little bit It was always good. I mean, it had its audience, just like the hip hop audience. The biggest clash was 1,500 people, 2,000 people, but all of we going in it regardless. Yeah. And I started to see a shift where rather than just the local song systems clashing each other, the foreign song systems start coming and stuff, and maybe some of that influence too. But there's one dance I remember in Harvard's Boy when Cell Construction, because Johan, when they say Johan, right, people remember Johan as producer Cell Construction, only it's Ultimate Rejects. It's like, sometimes you don't connect them dots. But Swarm was a dance where when the fellas
How do you know this? But go ahead.
I was
with
there.
The story. You was there.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't missing a clash. If it had a clash
Them
in a manhole, I go in that Salute Umba. That was my sound, Matty Miller.
Matty Miller?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it started to get to the point where everybody was, most of the songs was patterning what they would hear Jaro or Mighty Crown or Mataram play.
I could get some stories, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you go for them stories.
Go ahead.
I remember the thing, because Spot Rushaz was bubbling. It's not like it's not unknown name necessarily at the point in time.
Go ahead.
And then I can't remember who it was. I want to say Cell themselves, but had dropped a thing and destroy, because it just was the energy for as a patron, somebody in the crowd. It was almost one of the first times that we felt like it's us. It's like we homegrown thing, rather than you just playing where you hear other songs. Because you just mentioned cassette. All we had cassette, we know what men playing is thing what Jaro play. So that was a moment, boy. You would have been there, you always are wrong, like
So Spot Rushaz was, I wouldn't say was really bubbling per se. They were doing like those shows, like the Dredging, and it very much in the small circuit.
Still niche.
Yeah, very much so. But, so they were recording by Cell.
Right.
And Johan was like,
he was recording your music by Cell, not just dubs?
No, Spot Rushaz was recording their music by Johan. And Johan was like, cut a dub, we playing in the clash. And that was the Swarm dub plate, which was on, I believe, I can't remember which rhythm, it will come back to my mind. Yeah, and it mashed up the place. So essentially it's a dub plate, bus Spot Rushaz.
Also,
so you see, either man in song and as a hip hop man. So you understand? But I wasn't with the group at that point in time yet.
Oh, you weren't there?
No, I wasn't with them yet.
But you know about the dancing? Yeah.
That resonate. That was, as you say, that resonate. Cell Construction play a hip hop dub plate. And I remember the boys and them telling me people thought it was like Junior Mafia or somebody, but it was, it was, because them time the man really amplified with the accent and the delivery now. You know what I mean? But and this was a dub play, and then after that, like right after that is when I kind of linked up with the group, and then next clash coming now is when Jugglers and all of them call me. It's like, yo, come down in 96 now. We're going cut in dubs, and we stayed there. There's a picture of me, Chinese Laundry, and Maximus MX Prime in 96.1 studios. That night, we all there cutting dubs. Cutting dubs. And I remember the time Peter C pull up with Marshall. The Marshall cutting dub. Everybody, the clash is like weekend. This is like a Wednesday or Thursday night, dubs cutting. Artists coming. JD still singing soca. All them thing, right? JD days, and he used to rap too, right? Yeah, son, I remember Peter C coming, and we outside and we playing some of we joints now. But when you singing that for, boy, all you ain't gonna make with that and whatever, while you sing thing. Marshall come and is like, if the men want to rap, let them rap now, boy, one boy thing. And I always kind of respect him from that for that moment, because a lot of people would tell us that, like, well, they're rapping for whatever.
Yeah.
But we did, So it go.
Well, the thing is, like, even more, I salute to him for saying that, I mean, you gotta watch where you tell youths, because sometimes things could make or break youths,
But that's why I end up come back wrong and game flack.
Yeah, boy, see. I was waiting to hear where it went, because you catch an early straight. Another straight in our direction, too. But more than just the rap and the other, I felt as though in them times, it didn't matter if it was rap. It was, you had to sing soca in not Trinidadian. You always feel that energy.
Somewhat, yeah.
I find that was a thing, and I think rap would have feel it more.
But you see, what I leaned on is rap. So, what's the difference? Maybe an intonation in the accent, and maybe the sound of the rhythm. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's why I say Kiss Kitty Caravan was so inspiring, because it was us. and it was Gage, it was Kindred, man from the area, man. Edu Rankin, from the story, I used that barber, I used that trimming cure, supposedly, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's people you could see, feel, touch, interact with, and that's why it resonates so much, and that is the same thing with Trinidad. You know what I mean? So, though a lot of that was rap, so within a hip hop sort of frame in the Kiss Kitty Caravan, and I was like, you know, but that is we still. Yeah. And it took a lot of growth too, in terms of trying to find a sound or what is represented as Trinidad and Tobago hip hop. The accent conversation was an ongoing one for years.
Yeah, right? People don't like that.
Right, and I mean, but you have to give youths and them time to evolve. So here's my thing, going back to after Ash Wednesday, right? All you're hearing is hip hop, hip hop, dancehall, reggae. So if a youth now coming up and that's all he hearing, he got to first start to imitate. Sure. Right? But then you have to allow them to find themselves, which I did. And so just like in Puppet was like the first song that I really just kid him chinny. You know what I mean? To a degree.
I see.
You know what I mean? And after that it was just you know?
Yeah, that idea of letting youth evolve, it's important to me personally. Like
grow,
even when you we want to kill them at the root. And I find it's a very Trinidadian thing, honestly. Yeah. Doesn't matter what genre or industry you talk about, it's the same. But Sister Ron was here, Omari was here, both of them talking about their coming up in hip hop. And you know, Sister Ron talk a lot about it. She's like, this is my flow, this is my style, this is what I feel it.
Big up Sister Ron, love and respect every time.
Yeah. So at that point in time, you're looking at that Rapso movement and that.
Yeah, that hip hop. You hear, and started to hear that on the radio as well. You had the Kiss Kitty Caravan tape and the record and all them things, you know what I mean? So you're inspired by that. And then, as I say, I started recording in my aunt's house with my cousin, just like 2 streets away from Song Basin. Yeah, and we just driving past that every day. We go into a church in Assumption Church there, and it's based right across the road, and you're just like, yo, I just want to get in there, right? I just want to see inside there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, some of the hip hop greats was there too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope to have Robert Amaria one day. He's an ex-man say yes, we figuring it out. I want him to tell some of them stories himself, right. But I think it was felt. Where you really grew up in, if you see any person Assumption?
St. Augustine.
Augustine.
Rugby Street, shout out to Rugby Street every time, you know what I mean? So, majority there, born in St. Joseph. Like 15 years old, moved to Valsane, and then now back in St. Joseph.
Oh, yeah, back in same. Yeah, so
I really like that area there. I really at home in that area there.
That's home.
You know, I like the Mount Rugby Street, St. Augustine, all up in the back there, and St. Joseph. There's the mountain vibes. I like that vibe. So.
Yeah. Good inspiration. Yeah, I was married talk about it too, you know. You used to talk about that same thing, living in St. Augustine and the vibe, the feel of the area.
Yeah.
But that accent again was one of them things where people, the older generation or the people who just before us was like, okay, why you don't sing in this accent? Why you don't do this thing? So you connecting that back to Rapso. I remember putting out Omari's episode and somebody in the comments say, yeah, this Trini Could Flow is the first thing 96.1 ever play. You know, when they started on here, that was the first song here. Okay. So I confirmed that with Laundry as well. He said that it was a deliberate choice. He was looking at what was happening in the thing, and Kiss Kitty was so important. And the message that song sends. Well, Omari tell his own story, but it almost gave everybody license. Whether you had like dub plates and things, you had like hip hop, you had like reggae. It almost gave everybody license to just live and do what you wanted to do. But at that point in time, you all starting to you getting traction. It was on radio. No, not yet.
Them?
Yeah. Well, as a group. How long you spent?
Group A formed them time. 96.1
came out.
Yet. 96.1
so when you
started like 95, 96. Or
right,
before that, 94. So
but when you went there to cut the plates, as a group or individuals just doing that?
Oh, that was after Swarm, so that's like 2002.
Okay, so that by that time, the Swarm would take off.
Yeah. So when they dropped the dub, when Cell dropped the dub in Swarm, and everybody wanted that dub after that. You know what I mean? So we was ending up in different studios, cutting for different songs and things.
And radio play happened, it started to get...
Radio play happened soon after that.
What was the breakthrough there, you think?
We had a song called Gunner.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was decent, but it was a decent tune.
Right.
But then you're trying to fit 5 man on a track and thing, my verse down at the end there, or whoever. But nah, it was dope, and then, you know, it was getting a lot of love on radio, and we were doing a lot of shows, etc., etc. So yeah.
Okay, so your time with Chromatics, you would when did it come to? Sorry, Chromatics, of course, Spot Rushaz. What you eventually decided you're going to break out on your own, or how that went?
Yeah, I left the group slightly after, so basically 2003, and then I put out my first radio single, which was a song called Start It.
Right.
And funny enough, as I said, at the same time is when I started mic with jugglers, whatever. And so Start It got a lot of rotation. 2 shout out to Excalibur as well. Slaughter is someone that I will never forget in the journey. You know, and jugglers bust it up. Excalibur bust it up, and you know, that was it. That was my first taste of solo action. And then Spot Rushaz came with True Soldiers, which was an even bigger record, and I was just out the window with that. You know what I mean? And then wherever that kind of phase passed, and then I joined back with the group, and that's when we kind of went back to the sort of hardcore, and that's when we put out like Trini Man run the route and shot the video looking like it recorded on VHS, but they loved it, you know what I mean? Just the rawness of it now.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like in heavy rotation on Synergy and things. You know, so.
Yeah, I think hip hop always had its people here. So just the fact that somebody was willing to do it. I come to talk to you about visuals and thinking, no, you say anything looking like a VHS. You always used to take that additional step. Maybe something you never used to see with a lot of the young artists in other genres. You in particular, you was focusing a lot on the visuals as part of how you're promoting music, and those is deliberate choices.
Definitely. I mean, within the group as well, you know, we were always very much into visual element, and shout out to Tim Starr. He was pushing that ahead in the group as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was more pushing the business head of things, you know, selling. We put out our first so after, you know, that sort of, you know, that little run we now talk about it. Right. So it was Gunner, then Started, then True Soldiers, and Trini Man. We was like, we need to put out some product now. And we came up with this concept. So I remember me and Nigel tell us what, shout out to who, right? Yeah. He's like, we're going to put out like an EP with 5 tracks on it. And he was like, and we're going to call it the 5-piece. And them time man smoking 5-piece and 10-piece of ganja, right? And I was like, yeah, and we go wrap it in foil. We was like, that's brilliant.
Sounds brilliant to me.
So we had slim CD jewel cases, and we wrap it in foil with a sticker on it.
Bad.
So we wrap it in foil and just like a 1 sticker in the middle. Hey, we're selling 5-piece to police. Because we had real police version too, and they buying 5-piece.
Why the hell not?
You know what I mean? And I was counting in Q-Rep. I buying up the CDs, we buying the labels, burning them over, boom, 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 and we selling that like hotcakes. Every man getting a case of 25. Yeah, I've done that in a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sell for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, let me talk about some of that business side now, because I saw this article the other day with a youth man, St. Augustine self, he have a backpack of coffee selling on the highway. You see him? I find it's one of the most inspiring things I've seen in a long time. You know, even when he tell his story, he say, well, I am a job. He say, but I focused on customer experience. And he was in traffic a day and he realized he's sleepy or whatever it is. He decide, you know, people who are entrepreneurs see problems as opportunities kind of thing. And he went and he's selling his coffee and them kind of thing. But I do some entrepreneurship classes, and I find that to be one of the, you can't teach it. In other words, I could tell you all the finance things and all the marketing, I could teach that. But teaching the idea of walking up to somebody and saying, I have a cup of coffee to sell, will you buy one? Or I have a CD to sell, or a 5-piece. Well, 5-piece might be easier to sell. But if you have things to sell, you had that in you from before. You was getting horrors. When you say 25 men, everybody get 25 and others sell it. You're feeling that way them times to go and sell yourself?
Me, no.
No.
The men in the group, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But because, I don't know what it is, but something about the business is I just fell in love with entrepreneurship, and this is why I wanted to say about this too. And I'm glad that we have these platforms to tell these stories of entrepreneurship, especially in the creative industry as well, because we never had example locally of it. At least I don't know, right? But I buy in a Source and XXL magazine every week, and I reading about Rockefeller Records, and I reading about Cash Money or No Limit and their journey and how they do things, and you know what I mean? So I'm learning the entrepreneurship through hip hop now, you know? And basically, yeah, it sometimes just take a switch, and it's almost like the performance switch in my opinion, that you need to turn on. If you're gonna do them hand-to-hand sales, it's like, all right, there we go, and you're just in that zone. You just go in that zone because you know, fast forward to when Highway Records was out there selling CDs on the streets like daily. not just you have a batch of CDs, you go sell it to your partner or somebody else who might want it. This is you out here, just like
that's a distribution, of course.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's a different mentality, and we had different sales people come on, and some of them just wasn't cut out for it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's easy for me because it's my product I sell it. Easier.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But you just had to put on that bold-facedness and just go out there and know that you got to focus on a goal past it. You know, you're trying to get the music out there, and then you need to, well, you wouldn't know this innately. But I remember I going to do a show in Barbados in 2009, and a man braced me backstage. A fan come up, or somebody who was attending it. It was like a music festival, right? It's like, boy, I buy your CD on Frederick Street. You know what I mean?
Serious?
Yeah, so it's a matter of, as I say, radio wasn't playing you, so we're going direct to consumer.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or not playing you enough to really have an impact. You know what I mean? So yes, you just had to know that there's a end goal here. You know, or a goal that you're trying to reach, and that's getting the music out to people.
Sure. So, like a lot of sales training I went to, they tell you it's an act. There's like, it, just what you say, it's a switch, it's something. There's like, don't pay your real self in it, you know, script it, do what you have to do so that you can approach it and sell it. But you're getting sales at that point in time when you all initially start off, you're selling out to 25. Yeah,
bro. And we're doing that, and then the next thing was we put out our next album. We do it like a proper album called the 10-piece.
Right.
So we went 5-piece then 10-piece, right?
That's right.
And right. But you know, we were selling that for typical CD price, 100, 120. I was like, nah, this ain't working. I went to New York, did my first solo song, which is Basement Party, right? And I was outside of Union Square. They had a big Virgin Megastore across the road. So I go in there, you know, going through and listening to my music, what CDs I want to buy. But outside, there's men hustling. It's like, yo, get my CD, boom, 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 $5, whatever. I say, all right, $5, right. Say, if your man sell 2 CDs in an hour, that's more than minimum wage. You know what I mean? So I went back to Trinidad and I was like, all right, let me drop the price of this, because then now this is the timing of piracy.
Sure.
Right? Both online and the pirates in town.
Blank CDs, right?
Right?
Burning CDs.
Right. So how are we competing against
Lime
free
wire
or close to free?
Yeah, of course.
Right? $20 for the thing. You say, all right, boom, we're gonna put in theme, in keeping of theme of the 5-piece and 10-piece, we're gonna put the marijuana mixtape. Right?
I like the energy.
Right, which had a bunch of Spot Rushaz songs, including a song called Marijuana.
Right.
And we're gonna do Marijuana jerseys, which are a nice green outline lady, and we're gonna sell that. And man, we made like 12 grand and like nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then off of that is when at the same time I was starting Highway Records. You know what I mean? And we started Highway Records. I was like, all right.
What was the genesis of that idea for Highway Records at that point in time? What was the purpose you're trying to fulfill then when you do it?
Well, essentially, I want to start my own record company. I was doing it already, but I want to just
formalize it.
Yeah, formalize it, you know what I mean? And that was it, really and truly. And then, so that's why we had the street team, and the street team was branded. So everybody had on the street team jerseys, Highway Records logos. You could get to preview the song. We buy some cheap MP3 players. And so if you want to hear the music, it's not just like trying to hustle your CD. You want to preview it, take it in, whatever. And 90% of the time, if somebody listens to it, they're buying it. Yeah, because, you know, you're hearing it and you're hearing quality for, you know, for the most part. And yeah, man, I just...
That's where it went.
Yeah, made a lot of money. And the reason why I wanted to do it branded is just a different presentation. All right, yes, people on the street selling hand to hand or whatever, but you can see there's a business behind it.
Yeah, with you. Like, my only reference point for that would have been Morgan Joe. Like, when you all were doing that, you saw a lot of people doing that kind of thing here
We
before.
was out there on the street with Morgan Joe.
Yeah, that's
We there and Joe Bay. You understand? Frederick Street, busy corner, Q-Rep. Yeah.
Salute to Morgan Joe.
And that's why you know, we know, shout out to Bibo, you know, we know Nzinga as well, his daughter. And we invited him to come in the studio and be a part of my second album, because it's almost like we was doing the two same things. There was a weird symmetry.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I know he's a different kind of guy. But Morgan Joe, I mean, salute to him and his legacy, you know? Oddly enough, my pops used to make me listen to him back in...
Serious?
Well, not make me, but he used to be listening, and I was like, who's this man? On the radio here, boy? And it just, you know, it talk a lot of sense. Right? And yeah, so it was weird. So we were out there hustling at the same time, and he was right there with us.
Really?
Not to say with us, but you know,
yeah,
we bouncing him up, we passing him every day. He up here, we up the road, we down the road.
Yeah.
You understand? And so it was like, let me bring him in.
That's nice.
On the project, and he did this whole...
How he received that, boy? He was cool doing it and everything.
Yeah. He enjoyed it. He actually wrote that piece for it. You know what I mean? So the song is called Forced into Independence.
Yeah, that's his kind of topic too. You know, real revolution.
Well, that's the name of the song, and then the head for,
Of course, it works. So, but there's no other reference for you, because again, when I see in that back then, it seems as though, like, what these fellas doing, this is different to anything I see locally here in any genre. That was all you all felt. It was as innovative as that, or you saw people doing it. So street teams, I never see no artists.
No, we never had street team, but once again, that is something that they do in the bigger industry. Street teams are real things. Granted, they're more out there with branded T-shirts, putting up flyers, giving away merch.
Right.
We just did it as a sales team. The street team is a sales team. You know what I mean? So it's just copying the model of what major record companies, Def Jammers have a street team, and there's a lot of big industry players now worked on street teams in record companies when they were younger. Yeah,
well, you say to know, like Rockefeller, they were known for some of these things, even the branding and makeup is out there and stuff. So when you're going out there and doing this, initially is your own music, or you're looking to put artists on? You start off with the intention to put people on?
Yes, kind of, to a degree. That was a long-term goal, but it was mainly for my music or the group's music.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So you felt like it was fulfilling that eventually, where you're getting enough artists to come through, getting youths for expression,
you could never run. It's Trinidad, bro. Could never run out of talent. Never. You know what I mean? I just, a lot of them get discouraged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the game is messed up. And enough for the week. You know what I mean?
Enough for the week.
Yeah. But I mean, we need platforms and people to support. You know?
I feel like that's one of the things that we, like, no matter who you talk to, you're hearing that element of it missing all the time. That idea that you said it, like, let youths be youths, let them innovate and let them do the thing. So you run into one of what I consider, when I look at your life and career, the public part of it, had to be a huge obstacle, because with Highway Records, you selling to people and stuff. I feel like sometimes from a business standpoint, that could be seen as a threat. If I own radio and I own distribution of music, let me put it like that, right? To put it bluntly. And you find another way to distribute, you're affecting my business at this point in time, right?
I never really look at it like that, you know. I don't think the fellas up there, they really...
You didn't think so?
I don't think they was watching us like that, like any sort of...
Well, I didn't think you was watching this podcast, so...
Well, who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I would say we did. I mean, after that, you saw men like Squeezy and Fireball go and do the similar things. After that, right? But to say, I don't think we was that much of a threat, because the power hold that the few stations had at the point in time, it was just incredible.
It's too strong,
yeah, it was too strong for us to have, I think, to affect them in any way, you know.
But I feel as though it's a unique personality to be faced with that. So, for instance, there's the obstacles, and then your response to it, or you say fireball or squeezy, your response to it is to, okay, figure out another way. Whereas you yourself say, many people will just give up.
Exactly.
You know, many people will withdraw.
My thing was, I just always saw radio as, not always, but understood eventually that it's just a middleman between your music, your product, if you want to, however you want to phrase it, and consumers, right? If granted, radio can reach a large amount of people in one instance, right? But you can do the same. But it will take longer. It's a little harder, but you can do the same direct to consumer. And we've seen a lot of it happening now, where these DSPs, the Spotify, the Apple Music, a lot of artists are shying away from it and going direct to consumer. And I did that with my last 2 projects. You know what I mean? I put out Kobo Sweat, the EP last year, and I didn't put it on the DSPs till a year later. I was selling it direct to consumer via Bandcamp, via download cards, etc.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's a new day, same concept, but just new technology.
The technology helping us to get direct to consumer. So talking about podcasts, my journey is the same. I went by Nigel Nicholson. I sit down, I learned radio broadcasting a little bit. Never was good at it, but he put us out by Iowa for a while, do the overnight thing. And after a while doing the overnight, I said, why do
when I 12 to 3?
12 to 5.
Lord, for no money, eh?
No money. I had to go to work the next morning because I had to get money.
And they take a days for them thing done.
Whatever arrangement I had with Iowa, you had to pay a little thing to do the overnight. So it's 3 of us, and whoever had to work the shift.
You have to pay them?
We have to pay the person running it.
Yeah, man. So
when I realized, because last year, I decided every weekend I go in. I a little older than the youth to do any course and things, so some of them have all kind of other things going on in life. I work in already, so it's like Nigel, anybody who can make, put me. I don't care who I work with. I just want to do it. When I add up how much money I spend, and I started add up the 5 hours of my time and what I would value that at my job, I say something ain't right. I say I could buy a microphone. Or I could buy a roadcaster, or I could buy a, piece thing.
And that's kind of example of the power hole that they used to have on the industry, and the kind of ranking vibes is like, you gotta come and work overnight for free.
Yeah, for sure.
God damn. You know
what I mean? For free is for minus.
And here's minus, right? And it's these companies making buku money, dog, for their, certain ones are independently owned, but they have investors and parent companies, which are huge parent companies.
Of course.
Millions and millions of dollars, and you telling me that you're going to make a youth come here 12 to 3, 12 to 5 and work for free?
I suppose that's always make millions and millions of dollars. So maybe that's the way. I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But you went into this thing now, you're doing your distribution and stuff, and I remember reading this story about Awesome now. At first when I saw it, I thought Awesome was yours as well.
Oh, gosh.
No?
No, let me drink for this. Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
I initially thought you you figure out distribution, at least to some extent. The seven Matics pour drink don't ever refuse. I hear that on the streets. So when you're going out there and doing your distribution, I thought you'd say, well, all right, collection agency go BISU too, because I was telling you, I had Kids Israel here a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how producers earn, which is a whole lesson to me, because I think if you write a song and you produce a song, you good. But he was breaking down some of the business side. But Awesome was really like a parallel to COTT at the time. What exactly Awesome was trying to do?
So it was Awesome, and then it had TTCO as well, which were alternative PROs, right? So performing rights organizations.
Right.
That's supposed to collect on the behalf of writers, authors or composers, right? Authors being who write lyrics, composers being who write the music, right? And we had issues with COTT. I told this story on KG podcast, but I feel it important to tell your viewers.
I think so.
Right? So, now shout out to as I say, companies is one thing, people is a different thing. They have people in COTT that I real good with, love and respect.
Sure.
But the overarching, sometimes, certain CEO and the bigger heads is not always the greatest people, right? Anyway, at the point in time, we gain a little more airplay as Chromatics, right? The artist Chromatics is getting a little more airplay, doing a lot more shows. And we telling COTT, like, yo, listen, what going on? Because we gain more airplay and whatnot, and
more money.
The money just staying the same now. You get $300 every year or some stupidness, right? whatever. They say, well, you have to do your performance sheets and wherever you perform and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, boy, we do show out the wazoo. We come and submit our performance sheets plus the airplay that we get in, and we get less money.
It gone down.
Yeah, gone down.
So you do more, earn less.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so I say something had to be wrong here, right? And then they had a COTT Awards, right? And in the midst of all of that happening, they had their first ever hip hop and R&B category in the COTT Awards, right? Held in Queens Hall, big hoopla and all of that, right? And the nominees were Spot Rushaz, Judah B, I believe it is.
Right.
I don't know who else. And Fireball.
Leader in the hip hop world.
And the winner is Fireball. Wins the first ever hip hop and R&B of COTT Award. Me and my manager get up and walk out. Yeah, but we went the after party though.
Yeah, take a fet still.
Yeah. You know,
we had a drink to that.
Yeah. Right?
That is Trinidad.
So we heard about this, rumblings in the grapevine of other artists saying that there's this new other performance rights organization, awesome or whatever. And they are using technology for a more fairer payout.
Sure.
Right? So we ended up having a conversation, and then we signed with, when I say we, Highway Records. So Chromatics, the artist, right, was still signed with COTT as my collection agency. But I signed a publishing deal with Highway Records, right? And Highway Records assigned the rights to Awesome.
Okay.
Right? So under the label, so the artists that we signed, Lil Saint, John, Andrew Prescott, Kane, right? Those are the artists that we signed to the label. And we put out 2 songs. Right. A song called Hitmaker and a song called Cold Blooded, me and John Squared. Right. And those songs, we talking about 400-500 spins in a matter of months, was mashing up radio. Yeah. And then Cold Blooded was like the #1 music video on Synergy, whatever, for like 4 weeks straight. Right? And we tell Awesome, he's like, all right, so here, we're going to go on, let's collect the monies, whatever. Sure, and they went to this, they had reciprocal agreements. They had agreements with certain radio stations, but not all, right? So in other words, for those out there, a radio station or a TV station is supposed to pay a certain amount of money, what they call a blanket license fee, to a performing rights organization to collect on the behalf of writers, authors, whatever, right? So, and there's, just like in the States, there's numerous performance rights organizations, ASCAP, BMI, CSAT, I think, right? So having another one in Trinidad, although we're small, makes sense if, because it's basically a monopoly COTT had on the thing now, right? And Awesome was using digital fingerprinting, or what we would call today content ID, right? Which is why you can't go on Instagram and play
which I learned.
Man song
I learned the hard way.
Right.
But
right? The same technology that we use to protect music today, they were using at that point in time to ID the songs played. So they basically had a system set up where all radio stations, TV stations were being monitored, and the songs were digitally fingerprinted. And you as a member could go and log in on your computer and see when and where your song play.
So it's much better for you than what you're doing at COTT. COTT is blind, really.
Blind. You didn't know what you getting paid for. You understand?
Right? You know where you're getting.
I don't know. Right? So, just that transparency and seeing it, and it's almost like, all right, well, this DJ played 12:30 in the night. Who's that boy? So he gained it forward. So it's like market research.
Data as well.
It's data at the same time, right? Aside from transparency in terms of the payout, it's data that can be useful to somebody if you want to use it. You know what I mean? And so, well, boy, majority of the radio stations didn't have an agreement with Awesome to pay them. Right. So Awesome went and was basically like, we play this music, let's come to some agreement. We would like to get paid for these songs that were used under our catalog. Sure. And majority of them was like, who's you? No, Fireball, run out of here, go on. As a matter of fact, we ain't getting you no money, and we removing all the music off the station.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And the only station that continued playing it was 94.1. Because they had an agreement with Awesome. They were paying Awesome whatever blanket fee, and it wasn't no big exorbitant. It wouldn't have been what they play in COTT because their catalog is not as large. It's a smaller catalog, smaller usage rate. So the license fee that you had to pay for the songs would have been, chicky pets compared to the rest. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, well, boy, really sing, say, boy. Pull that man music off the station, you know.
That's red at the time?
Yeah.
Citadel.
You know what I mean? And so all the stations except for Boom. So we made, even Synergy as well, pulled all the music. So we made the...
Oh, I didn't know that Synergy too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we made the stance and we went on protest outside a radio station and we did the photo shoot, you know what I mean, with all the tape all over all our mouth and... it's Anu, I can't remember her last name right now, did an amazing press release for me that just resonated, you know what I mean? And it caused a scene.
I
rest
remember
in
seeing
peace, Marcia Henville, she brought me on the show, Colin Lucas calling and lambasting me live on the air.
For what?
He was the CEO of COTT at the time.
Oh, yes, it's true.
Live on the air, lambasting me this and that and whatever. I was like, wow. But, you know.
Yeah, don't come out the order.
Yeah.
But I remember reading an article that said the match on the radio station was the angry hip hop crew, none more angry than the Chromatics.
yeah, because it was bullshit, bro. I mean, it was bullshit. But, I mean, looking back on it, there were things I would have done differently.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been so brazen. I would have tried to have conversations first, right? Me personally, not just sending Awesome as a representative. I'd rather have conversations with, you know, and if then you can't come, well then, you know.
Yeah, you could go out and
your name will reach in a song.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But,
so Colin Lucas' name ain't get no song. I had to go back and listen.
No,
we need to fix that.
Yeah.
I was telling him direct when
you can't pay me a cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Look at these I ain't get a cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar from COTT.
It's wild.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, so it's just another obstacle in the career because you know, we had a conversation yesterday, and it was like you telling me, well, you chose a hard road. I never really look at it like that. It's not like I decide I'm gonna choose this hard road. It's just what I love, and I understand that it's up against, you know, a lot of different forces, culturally,
of course,
business-wise, etc., etc. You know what I mean? And after that, it spurred something in me, and I went out to New York, right, just promoting, just doing little open mics or whatever, and mashing up the place, right, getting real love. Ended up having a meeting with Shady Records, all kind of thing, whatever.
Nice.
And then now, this is like in October, November, and then came back home like December 15th. And then it's height of Carnival time, and I was like, man, I out there doing my thing in Atlanta, hip hop, getting real love, getting these opportunities, and I come back to here, boy, where they're gonna play my music for the next 3 months.
Yeah, like it's a barrier.
And you know, out of that, I say, well, if it's Carnival, I went on fete.
Right.
I went real fete, though. Real fete. You know what I'm saying? Because I had my little links and thing at the time.
Right.
You know? And I enjoyed myself, but at the same time, I was like, so, you know, what are you going to sing about? When Carnival done, I was like, why you don't sing about Carnival? And so that was it. And I just started piecing together this thing. And I come in the studio. And big up to my brother DJ Pon. Biggest DJ out of Trinidad right now. Facts. Right? I had the first verse, and I stand up on the counter in Highway Records, and I open my book, and I put on the beat, right? And I just kicked that first verse. He's like, Matix, that is a hit.
Yeah.
Say that is a hit.
Pun is the one recorded. He on the board when you're doing it.
Yeah, well, that wasn't. We didn't even record it yet. It's just the first verse. It's just the first verse I have.
Ooh.
I was just like, just like Puppet. I sing in a circle. Sure. Like, what I hear this? Tell me what I think. Boom. You know, and I just kicked that first verse, and they was like, yo, that's insane. And funny enough, the beat for the original Carnival Rap Up Is a thief beat. It's mixtape thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And I was in a club at night in the same months previously in New York, and this beat just come on, like, as I went to brace the DJ, I was like, yo, what is that? He's like, it's so and so, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. I love that beat. I went and find it online, whatever. Nice. I didn't know what I'm gonna do with it, but then I was like, all right, I'm gonna write it to this. And that's why the start of it says, you know, going through New York, doing all of the shows out there, and then coming back to Trinidad, and it's sort of stagnant creatively for me in terms of expressing myself. Okay, I release no song, it's Kite at Carnival time, you know. I mean, that's why the first entry is for people like me, Ash Wednesday come like New Year's. Prepare your ears, here's Mr. Don't Care. So I set in the stage. So for everything that is about to come next. But I'm telling you why, for people like me, you know what I mean? Yeah, I remember Marlon Asher see me after that. He's like, Matics, you're right, you know, it's New Year's, boy.
Yeah.
It's New Year coming, you know what I mean? Up in Refusion. Yeah, man, and that drop, and that was madness.
Yeah. That was one of them things too. That's a moment. Because for people who hearing it now all the time, right? It's different when you're pre-20. That's 2012, right? When you're before that, and then you're here. Because you know it's happened a lot. We used to, as youths again, you're like this soca as a man, like Fete and them kind of thing, but you really like dancehall and what you like, right? So I remember staying up till midnight, Carnival Tuesday night, every year, just to hear a little dancehall or rap or something, because they used to do the soca switch them time. You couldn't hear nothing else, right? And now it's no sort of podcast and no, it's nothing else to listen to. You have to listen to radio then still. And dread at midnight, you will hear a little dancehall and rap and them kind of thing. And it's almost like for we back to normal, right? I know
that even on the road, so thing Tuesday night and thing in Poison.
Yeah, you might hear something.
Yeah, I remember 2003 is Poison doing the last lap by the Oval. And it's about 10 o'clock in the night. Go shorty. Yeah, it's boy. Your birthday. Different to I say, oh, all right.
It's so fresh in the mixer. It's just human nature. I never mean again. I will always like soca, but too much of one thing over. Maybe there's a different discussion, you know, what we should be doing on the road and thing. But I remember hearing the wrap up for the first time and how it was just different. You saying you introduce it, right? Which is true. You say what it's about, you say it's the New Year's and you come in, but I don't think nobody expecting to hear what we hear there, you know, in terms of just blasting everybody. So for that first one, you start taking notes early and them thing too? Or you just...
Kind of, because oddly enough, I have a certain style of writing when it comes to certain songs like that, you know, which is a little more technical than if I write in a song off, it's just straight vibes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which is, as I said earlier, like finding the pieces. So it was like, I'd write the first verse. Carnival Fridays when I kick it for Pun.
I see.
Right? I kick the first for him and he's like, yeah. So I get the feedback and I was like, everybody in camp loving it. Go and write the rest of it now. Right? So all Ash Wednesday, I home, they sing and writing it somewhere. But yeah, so it's pieces. But at that point, I didn't know what it would become and if it's just something I'm going to be doing on a regular basis. It's just like, all right, all these things happen. So it wasn't really taking notes. I don't know. I was just things. This happened, that happened, right? Thing, whatever. And when I went in ladies first and laundry, watch me like, what are you doing in here? This is my dance. It's real.
That's the first name calling up. I take notes, you know. I think I all the names in that tune too. You know. Let me go through the names. David, I had time to go through the names.
Remember, at that point, this is post Puppet and being banned on radio and all of that, and I just
but
wild.
If I remember in Puppet, it's Charles Barry, Wendell, Peter C. There are plenty names called there too. Even rumors, really. Yeah. So you open the first Carnival Rap Up in laundry again. Because people might remember, them days they can't say nothing about laundry. The laundry was laundry.
Nobody.
But you didn't stop there. You say laundry, Gallon, Fair, and Kimber Sazano, Iowa, Terry Seals, Trevor Searsga, Strays, 3-0 rum and nothing to drink. It's just to sap your foot. You know what I mean? Destro, Irfan showed with just a KI. Well, Marshall Boyd, he got all the names went down in the other verses and thing too. So by that point, you're not worried.
Well, I don't sing Puppet and Rumors and why worry about?
Yeah, you go in.
Why worry about?
I would have been worried.
I have more to gain and lose at this point, as far as I'm concerned. What radio and play me, promoting and booking me.
Right.
People love me, I'll throw my own dance and thing, yeah,
Sure.
but I have nothing to lose.
So random question, right? How that song get so popular? They play it on radio. Why everybody know that initial wrap up? Where it was getting
YouTube.
YouTube.
It was
by
the
then
first-
I had YouTube.
It was the first viral song.
Got it.
There was viral song before.
And maybe Facebook and thing going viral on
Facebook,
Facebook.
right?
That
So
is
we had
true,
used
it's
we
true,
had
it's true.
used Facebook for like Puppet and Rumors and things like that. Got real traction, but for some reason, at the time, the YouTube dog, it was like I remember I put out Sunday morning 8:00. Right, this is Sunday after Carnival, right? Hans messaged me lunchtime, Matic, send that for me. Later that evening, it was playing on
They put it out.
Boom.
Oh yeah, they were glad to play.
Wake up. I head into studio the next day about midnight. I was like, I watched the reviews. I called my manager. I was like, Dan, you seeing this? He's like, Dan, it's 17,000. He said, what, 1,700? I said, no, 17,000, Dan, in 24 hours.
In 2012.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was unheard of. 4 days later, dog, it was 60,000 views.
Crazy.
At that point in time. Unheard of.
Yeah.
And then it got removed.
When you say remove,
Did they remove it off of YouTube?
they remove it? Why? The beat? Or somebody went and who could remove it?
Yeah. Because I put in the end that Marshall, his contract was expiring soon.
Oh yeah, right.
In
The
June.
mobile thing.
Right. And I my little graphic work, I went and changed the graphic from green to red. And well, boy, yeah, I remember, I say this in KG interview too, like I remember my co-manager at the time trying to get some sponsorship from, just at the time, from B-Mobile at the time, right? Now, as I say, companies are companies and people change, right? And the marketing manager at that point say, we will never work with Chromatics ever in life.
For sure.
Ever. 2 years later, I sing in the jingle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Different people, and you know, the marketing manager change, and they love my stuff. Well, I see the potential, and yeah, man. So
for sure. That's another thing I appreciated you saying by KG, because I work in marketing before. So some of them questions all you was talking about, I could answer. Sometimes a man walk. Because when you said, for instance, that people might be fearful and why they don't want to touch the thing, you said it, boy, it was perfectly put. A company is a company and people is people. The organization is really the people. And as a marketing person in a marketing department, I have a work, I have a salary. That's how I'm making my money. And I like what you're doing because your age. Most of the brand managers and things is youths. You understand? So they don't like Trinidad music, and that's what they listen to. It's just Trinidad. Them are listening to what I'm listening to, obviously. But while they may want to take the chance and they may want to go with it, it's a risk and reward thing for them. It has nothing to do with the company and the brand. This is my opinion, right? It has nothing to do with that. It's really that person work. Because if I do that, like I'll give you an example, right? I was in Jamaica at the time and I was working, at that age, I was a brand manager. Our company had a deal with Sony Ericsson. We used to do all the marketing throughout the Caribbean. So the people who you light up, digital and B-Mobile, we working in there every day. Our job is to make sure the phones well displayed and we train the salespeople on the phones because Nokia is king, right? Them come a camera phone and music phone and we hoping. And we also had BlackBerry, which was BBM and thing, right? So we trying to make inroads. And I meeting with store owners or digital dealers and them saying, well, the equivalent of Lullaby and them. We had to meet with them all the time because we want their salespeople to sell our units, right? Over Nokia and Motorola Razr. We dying. And when they brought the music phone, they said, well, what about musicians in the Caribbean? Well, now you're talking to me. I was like, what? I'm in Jamaica, so I gone up straight to young boy you're calling this year Rap Up. I went straight to Cartel. I went and find him. I was like, hey, this is 2008-9, right? Cartel is on fire. Cartel Movado thing, it was on fire then. So I find out from somebody and I reach Cartel's studio and I tell them, I say, boy, here we're going on. This is what they want to do. Da, 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 da. I don't know how your budget is work and where it's charged, but I want to present them to you. Two people, Cartel and Taurus Riley. Them days Taurus Riley at Shiz Royal. So I say, well, do the reggae thing and I'll do the dancehall thing. Boy, Sony Ericsson interested. When them here, Cartel had Clarks at the time. When they see the views and think them time and what it's doing, because do you know who they wanted us to promote? Robbie Williams. You remember? I thought I asked him Robbie Williams.
From the UK?
I said, that ain't go work down here. We had to get Cartel and thing. And we have a team down here working with artists here too. Boy, had the thing, we talked to him, we talked to Taurus Riley, all of them willing, the management team. I never talked to Taurus himself, but his management team, everybody willing. Brother, the next day, Idonia and Cartel are two gun in the papers on the Star.
Serious?
Yeah, they had that's long before any of the charges he had on thing. It just had this thing with two of them with two rifles in thing, and both of them was on whatever it is. It make a big story. He number changed and never get back onto him. He had a man named Corie Sheppard. I never get back onto them up to today. But the point I'm making is this, is your work. Because now when I had to go back to a meeting, I get drag over the coals, you know, because they're telling me what kind of thing and if I did my background and this and that. Because now, them didn't know Cartel yesterday, but when the article come out and the thing fall through, all of them know everything Cartel do and they know all the gun lyrics and like, how you do that? And then it's your work.
Well, let me get a funny story that, you know, that I never talked about before. So, post-Carnival Rap Up, you know, things different. I became brand ambassador for Angostura LLB at the time, right, in 2014. Because we did some work with them, they sponsored a couple of events, etc., a couple of projects, and they liked the work. I was like, all right, we're going to have a more long-term relationship now. So we're doing it, you know, we're doing events, the brands, doing the jingles, the lyrics like a boss, before Marshall had like a boss. Anyway, just putting that out there, right? Later down in the contract now, in the year, I put up a social media post. On my normal. Yeah. How you feeling today? You know, what you want to say on Facebook?
What's on your mind?
So I said, I just typed that I find entertainment news reporting in Trinidad, they are fucking lazy.
Oh, you just type out that?
Yeah.
Right.
Because every time I hear entertainment news in Trinidad, it don't tell me about what's going on in Trinidad. It does only tell me about J-Lo, she asked insured for $1 million, or Chris Brown do this, or Elephant Man have a new album.
Of course.
Or it don't tell me.
They just read other entertainment news from some
copy and paste, you're fucking lazy, dog.
Yeah.
Straight up, and I don't care who vex if I say it. You're not doing any journalism.
Of course.
Right? With entertainment. Now, for your entertainment news, sponsored by so-and-so, right? Yeah, so big companies sponsoring your entertainment news, they tell me, and especially in this day and age, all the information I could done find when I open up my phone. But I want to know what's going on down so, who the artists, whatever. So I put up a post that they effing lazy.
Yeah.
Well, I get calling meeting one time in Angostura.
Oh, serious?
No, because big up a session Abba look. Abba went and make
salute Abba.
Abba went and do a whole article on it. Chromatics calls media lazy. Think. I said, Abba, what you came in here, kill? But I mean, I posted it.
Yeah, your words, right? Yeah.
And that's when I realized, ooh, yeah, I gotta watch way.
Yeah.
On social media.
It's happened fast.
They pull me in meeting. See one thing is like, well, but at the end of the day, it's like to me, it's like, all I know what a sign. It's the deal or what? You know what I mean? And I ain't lie. I mean, I might have used some colorful language, but I ain't lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is serious thing I talk about.
Of course. Where's so much when you say entertainment news? No, it's only like exactly what happened today. It's only like much change.
Yeah.
So after the initial wrap up, I know you talk about some artists, something that might feel a kind of way at that point in time. You're deciding that you're doing it long run at that point in time. You're gonna continue.
Well, yeah. So after the I did no decisions. Like, all right, I definitely know in my mind I go do about 3, and I go in, right? And then I started find like the momentum after. Could be like Carnival Rap Up, drop real shows. Right, first one, yeah. Second one, yeah. Third one, you know. Fourth one, I was like, no, it's, you know what I mean. And it became somewhat tedious. Yeah. It is real tedious.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I can imagine.
So people don't understand trying to write something like that and then record it and get it out within a certain timeline. You know what I mean? And I mean, I could work under pressure, nothing wrong with that,
sure.
right? And I don't mind it. But it really is a matter like, tell my wife, here we're going on, you know what time it is? You ain't seeing me for the week. You know what I mean? Guy in the studio thing. Yeah, and I decided, but then now it was also figuring out how to monetize this thing.
Of course.
And I tried different ways over the years. I did a show. So when I stopped doing it, 2006, I didn't do any in 2016. 2017, I said, hey, I'm going to try a show, right? The weekend, not the weekend after Carnival, the weekend after that.
Sure.
Right? Where you can come and hear it live. So essentially, I had to come and buy a ticket to the show, I do my whole set, whatever, but then in the finale, you get hit. I did that 2 years in a row, and it was decent. But that is even more work, because I had to write the song now, prepare, record it, whatever, rehearse it.
Yeah, that's really
the worst part, you know what I mean? Is the remembering this.
Don't know how you remember it.
24, 32 bar verse.
It's crazy.
To sing it the week after.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's some work.
Yeah, that in itself was real. Like, all right. And then I came, I stopped doing it 2018 was the last year that I did it. And then in 2023, I don't know what.
Just fresh coming out of COVID.
I don't know. Yeah, coming out of COVID, that the need for it from the people. There's always the people, and I just take chain up and
I'm sure chain up is good.
And then do this and do that about the boop. So all right, cool.
Bring it out.
And I love that 2023 wrap up.
Really that's your favorite one, 2023?
Nah, not my favorite one.
Okay,
the first one is just
the first
classic.
one was just a shock.
And to be honest, I really like 2024.
Yeah, serious?
Yeah, 2024 different. But anyway, so then I was like, I came up with this concept of sponsors, advertisers on the wrap up.
Makes sense.
And 2024 we did that, and this year we did that, and it's the most money I ever really make off our wrap up.
Well, good, congrats.
Yeah.
That's really
I mean, in
good.
one shot.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, well, you paused at the right time because COVID come and swing in fast. Yeah. And I remember coming off of COVID, the sentiment of the audience, people like myself, you want Carnival to go back to normal. And I saw people saying, hey, Matix had a... what Matix going to do? What Matix? You was feeling that. You seeing that people's at you and saying people telling you.
If you seeing that, imagine why again?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, I can bitch about it and whine, but any day, I'm just grateful that I have something like that. I have a product, I have a vibe from the people that the people want, as much as it might be fleeting in terms of, from the time it released, we'll can't go after, but I can make more music that will last longer than that. Yeah. So I mean, I have a product that people still want and enjoy.
The body of work, I was telling that yesterday too. Before I get to that, the parallel you draw when you say you love comedy, right? It really stood out to me because it's funny you bring up Colin Lucas too. I was really surprised when Colin Lucas said my songs was kicks. Because I never really saw it that way. So when you say puppet, for instance, you found that comedy would resonate with people, so you went for it with that. That really stood out to me, because I guess a part of me thinking more battle rap than it's just a way to call people name and attack.
Right, but then that is the influence of the Calypso too. Because the Calypso, the Picong in it, right, is more akin to what we know for culturally, as opposed to battle rap is which is still like extempo, but even the extempo and all is more, is Picong, right? So it was. I realized what was he saying about honey and whatever.
Yeah. Catch my hands with honey.
Yeah.
Bees,
Right. So it's essentially that same principle now. It's like I could be bitter and but nobody gonna want to see that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
you have a palatable way of putting it across. And it's funny. Because in the midst of the thing, it's how some people catch some strays I want to ask you about, because Sparrow Diggy knows it's wild, it's crazy. But you do the visual to go with it, right? It's wild. You're just not expecting it at all, right? You know Bungee Fair and Destro. In my mind, right, you know all the current people go and get blazed. Because just when people asking you about thing, right? People asking you, I'm sure, because they have that in their mind. This happened. Like the Eskimo thing they say, everybody's like, all right, what Matix go say?
Yeah.
But Sparrow just... And here, you put the thing in, you just do that yourself?
Yeah, I miss soca, man, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you
see, that's the next thing too, right? It's not just writing the song, it's recording the song, then mixing the song, and then
they work.
editing the video. Finding all the pieces.
And he knows at the moment that was wild.
What is true?
That's the problem with this thing. It's true. It's the true thing.
And why people be vexed with me when I just talking? This happened. Why you vexed with me? I just say it. I mustn't say. And that's the one thing I find about the soca industry and Calypso. Well, most of the soca industry, everybody is real shoo now.
Yeah.
I don't think, a lot of people don't reveal their true selves in the soca thing. I don't know why, and have these kind of conversations. I mean, I've tried to bring them out on my show and whatnot, you know what I mean, and really have deep, meaningful conversations about the industry and about it. But I find it's always been so shoo now. In soca now, like you can't, nobody really say nothing aside from this my new song and whatever.
Sure. I think it's a lost opportunity. We don't get to know the artist. We don't get to know the thing, and also we don't get to know the fact that. Like Bungie could take pick on, he could laugh. There's some people who will laugh it off. It's some people whether they get vexed or not, you just take shots. And that's soca you're talking about. But my favorite of yours is really the political wrap up, because like this is crazy, that election wrap up. Why another man why you had to cut out the thing with Glenn Ramadar Singh? Wasn't it enough to say? You could have just simply said Ramadar Singh trying to sing and he can't sing and you could have moved on to the next one.
Ramadar can't sing.
It's wild. You put the whole thing in the video where the man was singing. What was his song again?
I love you. Yes, 17.
Well, you're doing him a favor because at least you're typing on.
Oh,
but
shit.
That one was fire. That one was like politicians and thing.
I had fun with that. And that's the thing. Like, that I had real fun with. Like, doing the ticker tape and all, me and my boy Justin. Shout out to Justin. You just doing the ticker tape with your stupidness in it. Like that. Like, and I know when I'm doing something like that in that instance that they're gonna have the same effect.
Also, you know it's while you're doing it.
Dog shooting the video.
The video is crazy. Who is the girl head who pop up? Who is she? You need to find out.
I can't remember she name it now. I think I had her on the phone.
It's crazy.
And then the next girl is Angel. Shout out to Angel.
But yeah, let's know. That was crazy how, again, it just is the same thing like we saying about Calypso. And that's why I was tying into comedy, because there was a time when Carnival done and Ash Wednesday come that there was this notion that after Ash Wednesday is holy and soca and Calypso can play. And I remember things like Caribbean Comedy Festival and Yangatang and those things. And that
Randy Glasgow never called me. I don't know why.
No, but he didn't tell them he was a comedian. You wait till KG to tell them that he was taking the comedy route.
Bring me in our intermission between two comedians.
You can imagine what that would have been.
Let me sing me wrap up. Anyway,
go ahead. You can imagine what that would have do in the Gene Fair complex.
What?
That would have been wild. Yeah. But it's the same thing, because I saw the wrap up. It's almost like people would have been telling Sprang, hey, all you had to talk about is younger time, because those comedy shows would have covered what happened in the Carnival, the better comedians.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, people, it's like we need that space where people, we just need that release, that reveal. So it's something you're going to continue doing. What's here?
We'll see.
I don't say yes.
No, I can't say nothing. if I the vibe take me and it catch and whatever. Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. We go.
We'll see, because
the audience will put the pressure on.
Yeah, but political wrap up, man. You see, I'm very proud of those moments, like Puppet, political wrap up, Carnival wrap up, first one, and political wrap up, because to me they open doors. They open doors for hip hop and artists like myself to be more accepted in Trinidad.
Sure.
You know what I mean? When I drop the political wrap up, it's because everyone saying, is he moms or somebody or whatever? Like your song, White Dog Boy, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? So it opened up to a whole new demo of, that could be palatable. Now, granted, you have to sing about we. Of course. And certain things to make it more relatable. That's why the Carnival wrap up was hip hop, but it's singing about Carnival. What's the two biggest things? Carnival and politics.
Well, you say so much. It was so all encompassing. Like, I used to listen to them, and even as I listen to them now, like just prepping to come here, it wasn't just, it was we, right? It's very much us. But it was just, it's us and the way we see the world almost, because I had Tahiri and Joe Budden. It just happened during that time, and you just slide it in this. So it's almost like a reflection of the way we see in the world. It's very, very, very true.
No, and that is that's another reason why I'm very proud of them. It's saying things that people who don't necessarily have a voice, want to say, or people saying things and they're not platformed in a big way, you know what I mean? Now everybody who have a phone feel, their opinion matters. But, it's really, really trying to, so like when my boy, when in the first one, is I ain't write the line, you say, Raj, that rum only good to sap your knee,
Yeah, boy.
So
Oh, somebody tell you that?
Yeah, my brother say that. My brother say, Raj, that rum only good to sap your knee, I said,
well,
alright,
where is it now?
I done it this year, boy.
You done it now, man, it's for you.
Yeah.
I was telling you when we talked before that I was asking if your first Calypso was the two-party. When I hear two-party, again, just like all the different wrap-ups you do, well-constructed. I have this thing I talk about on the podcast all the time about ketchup and mustard. This red and yellow kind of thing we have. And I was waiting to hear say two-party, but we need a new party, we just get them out of the way. But you remind me about Outside Man. Can't forget that. When you think Outside Man, and I think all of us would have been introduced to you doing Kaiso, soca, them kind of thing. Because you in soca man, I can think before that, or Outside Man was really a first
actually, I do a chutney or all kind of thing. I reached semis with that. And, but I was just, like Colin Lucas says, kicks, that was just kicks. That was just wild. That was a bet around our table with a bunch of drunk men.
And
but
you
anyway,
went in.
Yeah. Right? And then I went into Soca Monarch in 2019 with a song called My Type.
Right.
Which is one of my favorite songs to perform to this day. Right? It's about different types of women that I like.
Yeah.
Right? And but that same year, previous year, I would have put out Lie Down. No, not 2019. Yeah, Lie Down. I put out Lie Down, and that was my real first foray into Calypso.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a very dark, bitter sort of thing, just kind of explaining my journey.
Right. Yeah.
Up to that point in music, and and it was just a perfect mesh of sound and vibes. And I tell myself, I say, well, I want to go in a tent, and I went on audition, and I ended up in Kaiso House. And
what's that experience like? Because you never look uncomfortable on a stage since I ever see you.
Nah, that experience was cool because, I got a lot of support from the elders and them.
Sure.
So, like, when I went to do the audition, it was Brother Mudada, Valentino, Explainer was like the panel there judging all the auditions, you know what I mean? And so when I end up getting Valentino, he said, Dan, I see you there. I give you a big tick next to your name. I said, all right, cool. You understand? Right. And then in the tent now is Black Sage Rail take to me and always lend advice and always cool with it. And then at the same time, for want of a better term, my peers there, Mr. Shaq and Bailey, we all almost same age, come up under the same vibe. Shaq didn't always think Kaiso.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
From background.
And me and Shalon, we always have a mutual respect. It was very welcoming in that tent. Aspect, in the tent. And then the next year, I was in Two Minds, and I put out Outside Man, and Brother Resistance, rest in peace. He said, Matic said, I come back with that song, Come in the tent with that, I said, all right, cool. Come in the tent with it, and I kind of sat out this year too. But right, it was COVID, right? And Outside Man just blew up.
Yeah, just take off.
Yeah, it went huge.
Because it's a very Trinidadian story, maybe. I think.
Yeah, that's a real story for certain people, not me.
Certain people.
For certain people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So at that point in time, you're right, and you're not playing it all that time to get back into Calypso. You're playing out your music the way you would usually do it.
Yeah, that just kept me a vaps, and I competitions are very much a part of our culture.
Sure. And
I think they actually are important in terms of creating platforms and exposure for different artists.
Right.
But I'm not making music to go into a competition. You know what I mean? I would go into the competition for more people to hear the music.
I see.
Yeah, if I reach somewhere, blessed love, Yeah.
So Outside Man, you entered on thing, or you just stood intent?
Well, that year they had changed back the rule to 2 songs. Me ain't really had no second song. So I ended up...
Look at your timing. That must be only year in the mix that they do that.
No, I think they did it like the 2 years, the year before that as well, right? I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me.
Sure.
Right? And I rushed and write a second song, and I had to... So I performed Outside Man in the tent on the judging night, but then I had to go down in the bullpen and sing the second song. But I rush and write the second song, and it was real weird for me because at the point in time my mother had a stroke, like the week or 2 weeks before, and it would have been my first time having to leave her by herself, because I was taking care of her at the time, you know what I mean? And I just down there just waiting to perform to get back to my mother. You know what I mean? Like I just whatever.
Yeah, of course. You
know?
But focus on that.
When it comes to the tent, judging night in the tent, flatten.
Yeah, easy.
Outside man, flatten.
Yeah, outside man turns out to be a classic.
Man, throw rose for girl and thing, kind of thing. Yeah, understand?
Encore and the full works, the full tent experience. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that was just a pleasure, and I think when I listen to Outside Man, sometimes I listen back like, yo, you write that song real good, you know?
Yeah, but the writing, and it's not just the writing that you have. For me as a fan, the delivery. You know what I mean? Because maybe other artists would understand, but as fans, I'm not sure if people really understand how hard it is to write, deliver, remember, perform, and embody, and them kind of things. So Outside Man was one of them. But talking about embodying, what went on with you and Tobago Chokey with that thing? You had to cover that and all.
I have no idea. I didn't know. I think
I buy 2 red, and you tell him buy a red, and you buy a yellow, and all this split it in half for what?
No disrespect. What song Tobago Chokey sing?
What's
the name of the song?
Why are we doing this?
Well, I want to know because
I can't remember.
My song is called Two Party.
Not just that, your rollouts and everything did it already.
I doing interviews with a yellow and red jacket. I buy off Amazon.
I remember.
You understand? It half. I doing all my interview and promo and rollout and thing. You serious, bro?
So
I just thank God I went on first.
You find out that's on the night.
I coming up the road from Skinner Park. It's because a man messaging me, boy, but a man thief your suit us.
The thing is brilliant. It's left side, right side, everything lined up perfectly as well. Is the same side? Is he that tall man too? I don't remember the song he sang, but I remember thinking it really had nothing to do with. It wasn't the same. Yours was directly related to it.
I can't remember. No disrespect.
Yeah, for sure. But I saw it. Then because like I tell you, people like Keegs and Travis and them are sweating it all the time. Yeah. So when I watch it, that was one of the most difficult years in Skinner Park. I have that down as one of the toughest Calypso, semis and finals. Yeah. 86 would have been one with Rudder and all them really had. It was just real hard with Stalin and them. But that year was rough. That year was, you went in when Marshall could not sing.
Yeah.
So even if people might argue that it wasn't the hardest year, it had the most eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching to see what happened.
Because it was Tasha. And it was Marshall, and then
Corie Sheppard had a big song. Kurt Allen had a big song.
Yeah.
My boy, I will just mix up his name, Bruce Hammond or Hammond Bruce, whichever order, Hammond Bruce.
Yeah. And the thing was like, rare people messaged me after, Pilot Rob, yeah, and the thing and the whatever. I was like, nah, I could have come better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
What do you mean come better? Like what?
So it's the first time I doing a stage like that. No, I didn't realize how big that Skinner Park stage is, though. Mm-hmm. Well, that year, however they design it now. Mm-hmm. And my timing is supposed to be, I done mark my cues in my head, right? I'm off the stage and I'm singing, they want me go to party. So by the time I finish singing the chorus, I'm supposed to hit the front of the center of the stage. One cannibal pen and I'm supposed to hit front of the stage there. Right. Well, boy, the thing coming up and I still say, I swear, damn, I had to run on stage because I underestimate the size of the stage. I was like, wow. And then, I mean, everything else aside from that, but that, how you hit it there and go, you know, your intro is important.
I would imagine.
You know what I mean? And how timing and cues and all of that in my head.
Yeah, maybe particularly for you. Yeah. Because I remember you doing, that's what it's about Tobago Chokey. I remember seeing you do the acoustic version of that before. Mm-hmm. That time you didn't do the split. You do two, a yellow and a red, which is some work to just edit that down. So who you talk when you talk about your friend in Central versus your partner in Tobago. Mm-hmm. But just a random question about that, the acoustic version of it. Who played that guitar in that boy?
Jabs music.
I see.
Daniel Pison, big up yourself.
Bad.
Jabs just played. Jabs did additional instrumentation on Outside Man, additional instrumentation on Lie Down, and we worked on many projects together.
Yeah, I remember that.
Shout out to Jabs.
If I remember right, he had released this song. It was done getting traction online because it just captured the sentiment of what people was feeling anyway. And then the acoustic version feel like it gives it another length and a different feel to it. So
yeah, so actually it was on our rhythm. Shout out to Keshav and Raka. It was on our rhythm, but something about it didn't catch now. It's like, you know, it was going over people's heads. I was like, hey, what's going on? Let me slow this down, drop it in acoustic, do our video. And then they just
I
put
understand.
it on Facebook, YouTube.
Oh no, why not going over people's head? It feels to me to be one of them.
Because it was like on a more upbeat soca rhythm with some other songs that was more on the soca. Yeah, you know what I mean? People wasn't really catching the heights in it now.
Okay,
you know?
gotcha.
So I was like, all right, let me slow it down for them and then give them a visual aid.
Right?
You dig?
Yeah, well, you good at that. You good at that. So you ain't coming out of that feeling like you're getting robbed, you know what I mean? But,
I chalk that up to experience.
We enjoy your
next
Skinner
time,
Park experience. So it's something that you will do.
Yeah, man. Growing up, like, you know, as much as I exposed to all different types of music in my household, Dimanche Grand Night, that stage just seemed like a world to me now. Staying up with my parents and watching Dimanche Grand, and then getting bigger, and me and my mother would have a ritual, we'd stay up, watch Dimanche Grand, and I go and play my juve, right? And that stage has always been calling to me, Jed. I just had something about that. You know what I mean? I don't think is there any other performance stage aside from like the Olympics or some shit, or
well,
Super
I guess,
Bowl
yeah,
or
that
something,
could match
you know what I
that.
mean? Yeah, and that's just a dream of mine to reach there. Me, I don't win. I just want to reach there and say I did that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And entertain the people, and hopefully with some sort of song that, you know what I mean? I have a song put on there by Corie, by. They ain't gonna like me, but bad.
I feel like
they ain't gonna let me. You know why? Because it's not it's a very reflective song. It's looking at us in a mirror sort of way.
Right.
It's not. I feel like everything now had to be we love Trinidad and we take and we high. You know. That's cool, but I ain't really not.
Yeah, you're gonna let it be known.
You know what I mean? So this one, they ain't gonna like it, but the people gonna like it.
So this is next year you're doing it?
Yes, sir.
All right,
well, I
good.
hopefully. That's the intention.
Immediately after Skinner Park, right? Let me get it, right? Let me do that. Because I'll tell you, it felt good seeing you on Skinner Park stage. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you're following the career from back in the day and see what it is. So seeing you on that stage meant something as a fan.
Yeah,
So,
and just to say, and not to say that I spurred this on, but it's cool because then you see certain other, you see Squeezy run out in it, you see Young Brother run out in it. So I think that, you know, my little venture into it, coming out of that genre, into Calypso specifically. It's not like I went and run down soca or went and sing Trinidad for forward.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And I think we need more of us in the other genres that come and jump anything, man.
I think so, particularly writers, for me personally, particularly writers, because it says something. You know, Maxine put it best for me when she said, is like, you're giving other people permission to realize they could do the same and they could go in. So, going from those days and everything you're going through, particularly about entrepreneurship, where the idea for our radio came up initially, you're responding to what you went through with radio back in the day, or?
That's an interesting way of putting it. But no, remember, funny enough, we started this conversation as me as what? IMC and jugglers, mic man, DJ, all of that. So the music, that element of the music thing has always been there for me. And I started the grind, my program, the grind, right, in 2008. On 99.1.
Yes, next.
Shout out to Mark Abu Ahmad.
Right.
He had a vision at the time. He wanted to do specialty shows. So he had like a specialty rock show, a specialty disc show, a specialty reggae show, and he wanted a specialty hip hop show. And he knew I was in the circle of MCing and announcing and whatnot. And he thought I would be a good fit to do the show.
Right.
And we did, and we produced the show, and it was a 3-hour show. First hour we dedicated to strictly TNT hip hop and R&B. Second hour was like new jams. Third hour classic. Did that for a few years. Came off when administrations changed. Come back on.
Right.
Whatever. And then in 2000
next was government.
Yeah, it was TTT.
Oh, CNM.
Yeah.
Oh, right, got you.
Well, yeah, CNMG, TTT, whatever you want to call it, right? Right. So then they called me back. Chris Granger at the time, shout out to you. Called me back and he's like, Matix, you want to do a show? And I used to do one here, Ting in 2009, 2018, I think, yeah. Right? And I was like, yeah, but this time, it can't be hip hop alone. Because there's too much going on. And I just be in everything. I know all these genres.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So not to say I in all the genres, but I mean, as being the rock shows, as go in the reggae dance, and as you know, as a hip hop man, or whatever, you know what I mean? And I sing in Calypso too.
Right.
Right. So, so it's like, you know, let me open up the show to all urban quote unquote genres, and the show brought a lot of life back to certain things that was going on at the station, right? And then in the midst of COVID, you know, radio stations were still open and operating, and the show was doing tremendous things. Like our interview with Boy had like over 200,000 views, because we were the only ones documenting, doing the same thing that we doing here. I used to treat it like that. I used to treat the interviews like the interviews as almost a separate thing. It's like a podcast with music in it. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And we were creating the content, and I just find things were real vikey in certain instances. And then they wanted to essentially move my shift of my show of the grind from to 9 to 12 in the night. And I kind of took offense to that, because it's like, all their mantra is TTT, right? And all their mantra is live for local. It's the only local show on the station, all local show on the station, and I'm bringing in money. Right. I have sponsors and thing. I could talk more about it too. Right. And then also I had a child on the way. Right. So, you know, 9 to 12, I was like, nah, I ain't doing it. So I left, and I shop it to different people. Right. I shop the grind to different shows, to different stations. A couple people were interested. A couple people never respond to me. Anyway.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I gotta tell you.
Tell me now.
Yeah? Nah. So then I just started doing my research and about online radio and how to go about it, set it up, back end, and I was like, you know what, let me do this. And I just started it as a home for my show. Right? And did like 6 months of testing and beta testing, and the station was up and running, you know what I mean? And then started reaching out to other like-minded individuals who probably want to do the same thing or pushing our same head as me. And that was it. You know what I mean? And we built a nice momentum moving forward, and next year, June will be our 5th year. You know, and it's tough, you know, and I think me and Kenny Phillips talk a lot, because he's essentially doing doing the same thing that he's doing, but in a different, let's say, demo, a different field, you know what I mean? But we have shared a lot. I remember, right, Kenny called me. So when I had Outside Man and thing, and he hit me that peacock about he is a rapper, a Calypso, and this guy's just a rapper. You know what I mean? Kenny called me and he was like, Matix, I wanted this in the midst of COVID, right? I want to do some shows, right? I'm streaming them online, but how we monetizing that, boy? I say, crowdfunding, bro. He said, what's that? I say, ting, fund me TNT, whatever, boom, boom. Kenny started to do shows after that, fund me TNT, call he. Because money making like that. Yeah, so, yeah, dig? So shout out to Kenny. He's definitely, you know, a guiding light in all of this that I try to do, you know. Right. Not to say I'm following him, but he has done it in different capacity, but the same thing essentially, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's tough, but I mean, it's important, because I dare anybody to listen to my station, to our radio.fm, for 15 minutes or more, and tell me it'll blow your mind. Tell me it'll be like, what is that? Who is that, boy? Where that song? Who is that? Tell me it'll blow your mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the programming is of such that, you know, especially in our automated rotation, is great music, man. From artists that you never heard of.
Well, and you know, the question why comes to mind, because I remember Keegs telling me this a day. I had a issue when I first started off. As you say, what I dealing with this year versus what I was doing for the first 4 years are a different ball game. I could have never anticipated any of it. So the amount of new artists who reach out to me to say, interview me. I want to come on the platform and this. Yeah,
you wasn't expecting that?
No, I
Why
don't
get that every day?
Nothing. I would imagine. So I just happened to be talking to Keeks before we started gazing up, and I said, "Boy, Keeks, I don't know how to respond because I had to be genuine in my thing. I cannot break a new artist. I can't even play the music. You know, it's a full conversation. I feel it'll be unfair to them." And I remember Keeks saying, "Send them by me." He said, "That what we just do. We specialize in that." And I've been doing that since then. I say some of them is like 75 years old, because there's a brand new old artist. There's a brand new old artist here. When they see Colin, they say, "Well, I would song ref too," you know what I mean? So even that, Keeks are like, send them, it don't matter. And that's when I started realizing that, because, you know, I seen Keeks and I know he on his show. And he told me, he said, "Nah, we play local music right through. He's playing." And that's when I said, "Wait, this local? And this local, there's somebody from here?" And that is when so when you say blow your mind, it happened to me, because I was like, "Well, who is this? Who is she?" I remember Annalie Prime was a good example of it. I was like, "Who is she?" You understand?
Which station introduced you to Annalie Prime?
Yeah, I was not paying attention all the time. So when I hear it, it's Keeks really. When I tune in, Keeks going live and I put it on.
Right.
And then I hear him sing. But at that point, when I listening to Keeks live and I driving and sing, me realize it local, eh? Oh, I saw you interview a young brother. I think it was on your show. And, well, the story had me gripped, because when I hear his origins and he and Hottie and them kind of things, and just so different. Yeah. But...
And it does, I mean, it's providing a platform, and as I say, we're not under the yeah, we would love to make a profit, as any business would, but we're not on, that is not we guiding.
A purpose first.
Yeah, for sure. And the artists need to tell their stories, you know what I mean? And that's why platforms like this are essential, and that's why I will always come and support.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like, I have a course going on now about social entrepreneurship is what they call it. So the venture, as what they call the triple bottom line, you heard all about before, because before, when I went to school for business, they said in Business 101, a business is a profit-making entity, and they're not profit. But now they're talking people.
Start a business to make a profit.
That's right. You know, so that's first class, first hour you will learn that. But now they're talking people, planet, and profit as that triple bottom line. So what you're doing for people. And I
think the definition of my entire career has been making passion profitable, and that's what I'm continuing to do.
Got it.
You know, trying to do that. Yeah. Well, and I have a passion for, just because I'm inspired by others around me and what we have to offer as a country in all aspects musically. I created the platform, and it's ready to make it profitable now, you know.
Well, listen, I want to be as much a part of that journey as I could possibly be. In any way we could support, anyway, we're watching it all the time to see who the artists are, because, again, it is easier for me to sit with people like you than to sit with somebody who now coming out, just because I see somebody's journey before. But anything that you're all doing and so on, and David, I feel the way David just structured the interviews is so that I can never finish in time, so that I can invite people back every single time. I'm starting to believe that it's deliberate now. But I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate everything you're doing as well with the team that you're building. Just a random thought before we close, right? I remember I was just watching you live a day, and you were in studio, like, getting ready to start, and I see Travis and everything, and then I see you walk out of the room, and I see Cappy Passad and them rehearsing in our band room. I was like, I was so confused, because I running down Cappy to come here. I trying to get him.
Serious? No, I will make that happen for you, brother. I'm making that happen for you.
Great, yeah, because them's men's stories.
Ooh, Cappy had some stories.
So I telling them all the time, we was back and forth, because he was in the country a little bit, and he told me he'd come through and thing. Ricky Jai, same thing.
Right.
So much to my surprise, when I look and I see in your life, Cappy and Ricky, two men who are waiting to come here, you know, I see them by here.
Yeah, so because my recording studio, my band room, and the station are all in the same place. So that night it was active in the space.
Active,
yeah, it was a nice energy, because
I just hear noise immediately. I was like, this is radio. Then I see you had the band room, you went somewhere else and you showed the different spaces and things. So congrats on that. It's amazing that you continue.
Yeah, I need more nights like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
More nights like that.
Sure. So David, we'll start a record by Matics, right? Everybody we need to get there by him.
No. Well, we ride down the road here.
Yeah, we can walk with the table. Yeah. You can make it look the same.
No.
Well, thanks a million, brother. This was nice. I appreciate this, man.
Cheers.
Thanks a million.
Yeah, respect.